We're here to discuss the tragic accidental death of 5-year-old Zam Tuang on March 9th, 2006, approximately 8 p.m. We responded to a residence in the 700 block Southwest Crean Terrace regarding a missing 5-year-old autistic boy. Upon arrival, it was reported to officers that at approximately 7:15, Zam had exited the home from the garage door, gone through the family vehicle, and then fled the scene on foot. During the canvass, officers, including bloodhounds, drone units, and all available units, canvassed, and unfortunately, Zam was located in a nearby retention canal, a pond, and officers attempted CPR for quite some time until fire rescue arrived, transported Zam to Lawnwood. Lawnwood worked on him for quite some time, and he was pronounced deceased about 11 p.m. So at this point, I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can for you.
Chief, not to put any sort of blame on the parents in this, but there was a window before they called 911 where they must have thought they could find him on their own. I mean, what's your message to other parents when your child go missing? What should they do in that moment? Immediately
dial 911, and it's human nature to attempt to locate your child, and probably so many times they had, right? And I think that's human nature, but you have to train and prepare yourself mentally out of that habit in that situation, because get us rolling as soon as possible. In the event that, don't be afraid that we get there and you locate them. We're going to be happy about that, so go ahead and call.
Is there anything to suggest that the parents, I guess this is not a crime, I guess is what you're saying, like in terms of
I'm always asked this question, right? So since I've been the chief of police, this is the third autistic child that we've had a drowning, right? And I always get asked that question, and the truth is I'm still establishing all the facts and everything that occurred in that home, but preliminarily it appears that he was supervised by the father. There were many steps taken to secure the child within the home. But what happens, unfortunately, is a series of failures, and more than likely, most of the time, my experience, they are human error, and they could happen to anybody, and they're tragic in nature. So the child did open 2 garage doors to exit the house, the interior door into the garage, and then opened the exterior garage door and exited. So, clearly it wasn't like there was a door left open unattended. There was another safety lock on the interior door that was not latched that could have potentially prevented him from getting through the first door. I don't know whether or not the family, and there's a language barrier too that we're working through, know that this child was capable of reaching and opening that second door, so that's a process that we have to go through. I would anticipate more than likely no. It's just a tragic, serious, incident.
How many, besides the 5-year-old young boy, how many other family members were there roughly at the time?
At the time of the incident, it was just the 5-year-old and the father, but there are other family members that lived there, including 2 other autistic children. So this family is, accustomed to dealing with this challenge.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I know it's not the police department's job to necessarily have all the answers in preventing something like this, but as you said, this is the 3rd case that we followed since you became chief. I mean, in your opinion, or what do you desire to see done? What can be done?
Well, I don't know that the police department can solve this problem, or that it's our place to solve this problem, but I know that moving forward, I've said this past, so we began working on some things. We can't live with ourselves if we don't try, right? So we partnered up with the city. We're partnering up with some other community organizations, right, to study, learn the problem, understand it better, and see what can be done. We've planned an autism event on April 18th at 9 a.m. at the community center across the street. And the idea is to bring in our community partners to provide information, products, services that are available for the community and help us identify who this community that we can help is and reach them. So that's part of the big challenge, is understanding. We know that they're out there, and then we know that we want to help them, but we don't know who they are necessarily, right, until it's too late, all too often. So a big part of the problem is identifying who the community is, connecting them with services. As you know, we've been partnered with Project Lifesaver for some time, which is a radio frequency solution for locating eloped people. You look at this situation, about a 45-minute time delay in calling 911, and it was already too late. The parents immediately start searching. I want to put the tool in the parent hands so they can immediately start tracking and locating the eloped child. So one of the solutions that we're partnering with is known as Angel Sense. It's a product, it's a GPS solution. So while Project Lifesaver might be the best choice for certain people in certain situations, putting a GPS track that a caretaker can immediately locate, not only that, it can alert when your person you're caring for steps out of a geofence area. So you take that home, geofence it, that child steps out that garage door, the parent gets an alert, knows immediately. But now you can just open the app on your phone and you can see exactly where he is. So now you call 911 still, let us know, but now you can give us the exact location as you're going there as well. So hopefully, one, identifying tools that may be able to help, and every case is different, but also identifying the people in the community that need help that maybe we can partner with and help.
This might be an obvious one, but I would assume that you guys also encourage swim lessons.
100%, thank you. Yeah, and it's amazing how early a child can learn to swim, and the younger they are, the more accustomed they are to the water environment. And we've definitely seen that where when parents have or caretakers have had the children taught to swim very early, the results are a little bit better and different. So,
what's your message? I think I asked Brittany the same thing last week. To parents that feel maybe it's not a good feeling as a parent to have your kid wander off or to have your kid go missing. What's your message to them that might feel embarrassed in that moment or afraid to call 911 in fear that they're wasting your time or anything along those lines?
We encourage everyone to see something, say something. If you're a parent or a caretaker in this situation, like I said, immediately call 911. Do not be embarrassed. We hate ending up in a situation that we ended up last night and 2 other times in recent history. It's the worst scenario for us as well. We'd much rather show up and the kid be under the bed hiding or sleeping. That's a happy outcome for us, so please don't be embarrassed by that. Call us and give us the opportunity to help as quickly as possible. It just improves your odds of a successful outcome.
Do you know roughly how far away the pond or the body of water where the dumpster was found?
So it was up the block about 9 residential lots.
So not too far.
Not too far. It happened so fast. If you look at how quickly he came out of the home and just took off. I mean, they get away real fast.
How far out in the pond was it? Or was it on the edge when you guys found it?
So actually, we had some residents jump in and help us on the search pretty early on, and one of the local residents jumped in the water and actually pulled them out, and alerted us. We were right up the stream, up the canal from them. So I didn't see, and then I haven't seen any photos to determine how far out he was, but it's not unlike the last one we had. We had a 5-year-old late last year, and one of our officers had to jump in the water and go get them. It's just, they're not most of them aren't terribly deep, but he was floating.
Going off that, Chief, of last week we were here under different circumstances of a child safely found by K9 Hoot, and then today we're here under very different circumstances. I mean, what's that like on your department? What's that like on the officers responding? This can't be easy. They probably have kids.
It's not, and a lot do have kids. And we did deploy a K9 last night who did track right to the retention pond where ultimately it was found. It was just unfortunately too late. Yeah, I mean, this has a profound effect on law enforcement officers, especially when children are involved. It magnifies the situation, at least tenfold. So again, we take care of our officers best we can. We provide critical incident debriefs, critical defusions, and whenever needed, we have our peer support for aftercare. But a law enforcement career definitely takes its toll over a period of time. You don't exit the way you entered, that's for sure.
Lastly from me is when a parent calls 911, their kid's missing, child with autism might have different behaviors than a child that doesn't have autism. What are some of the things that dispatch, they're the first line of communication, what do they need to know in order to relay it to officers as they're
The
responding.
dispatchers are trained to extract as much important, pertinent information from the caller in a short period of time as possible. I've found that in most cases, parents are pretty quick to volunteer the information that you're looking for an autistic child. Our officers have training in dealing with autistic community. Of course, no training is 100%, right? Because some of them tend to have a discomfort with law enforcement, which is another reason why we want to engage with the community in person. And by the way, we're going to have a sensory-friendly event where they can interact with law enforcement and hopefully kind of break some of those concerns and fears so that when we do encounter them on the street, it's not their first time, and hopefully that fear can be alleviated. It's really nice when you have a dog too, right? You saw how that worked, but it doesn't negate the fact that you've got to locate them as quickly as possible. So having them willingly come to you secondary in that situation, right?